I'm going to go ahead and call tonight's meeting to order. 1.2, Pledge of Allegiance and Moment of Silence. Mr. Draper.
Please stand. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay.
1.3, mission statement. Mr. Carlton.
Beaufort County Schools will provide quality educational programs and services to ensure student academic and vocational success.
Thank you. 2.1, approval of the agenda.
Second.
All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? 3.1, we have a set of minutes on there. Any additions or corrections?
Mr. Chairman, I have a correction to the July minutes.
All right.
Okay, if you'll go down to 16, where it reads, the next Board of Education meeting will be held on Wednesday, July 30th. That should read Tuesday.
Yep. All right. Mr. Williams? No, this is not Zoom. Yep. Can I get a motion to approve as the corrections? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? All right.
Can I ask a question?
Yeah.
Going forward, as we start developing and approving the plan for this,
Sorry.
going forward, are we going to have a separate set of minutes for the discussion on the new school?
It's actually an information, but we can, yeah. Yeah, the Thursday's meeting, yes.
Okay.
It also video recorded.
Oh, I know. I just
Yep.
didn't know if we were gonna embed that in our regular meeting, or if there was at some point gonna be a separate set of minutes or information. That was it.
4.1, school nutrition recognition, Dr. Cheeseman. And board, y'all have a couple attachments.
Ladies and gentlemen, put your hands together for Joanne Trevor now. So let me bring all of the items. So it is with just such a remarkable opportunity to tell all of you that Ms. Kirby, I may have said it earlier to the board, but Ms. Kirby is recognized as the North Carolina School Nutrition Director of the Year. Out of 115 public schools, we've got #1 here in Beaufort County. Thank you so much. All right. But a few other things. She has also been recognized by the Mary Long Beasley Distinguished Service Award, presented in June from the School Nutrition Association. So congratulations to that as well. Again, she is the #1. Congratulations to you. But did you know she also has a way of drawing money to the district? She has a way of drawing money to the district.
Very much so.
And so Ms. Kirby, also as Director of the Year, has most recently been awarded a $100,000 grant to bring into Beaufort County schools, specifically to be used for equipment and other needs in our district. So to you, once again, congratulations. Go outside, and not right now, but go outside and take a look at the Beaufort County Schools School Nutrition Van as she receives funding to actually wrap the van so everyone in our community knows that we don't just feed during the school year, we feed 12 months of the year. So through that, her visionary leadership and what she does for kids, working with all of you, once again, congratulations, Ms. Garvin. We can't go without you. Congratulations.
Congratulations, Ms. Carver.
And I'm going to give a little shout out to Summerdale in IT, who was the videographer, which enabled us to win that $100,000 grant. So that was absolutely huge. You never know what's out of that. So thank you to Summer.
4.2, CTE recognition. Dr. Cheeseman.
Yes, Miss Victoria Hamill to the stage, please. Everyone knows her as Vicky.
Yeah, go Vicky.
Now let's celebrate her in advance, and then I'll tell you. So you are looking at the Northeast Teresa Career and Technical Education Director of the Year. So congratulations. So what that means now is Ms. Hamill is actually engaged in a competition throughout the region. So she'll compete in interviews with other directors of the year throughout the region and the state. And so hopefully, shortly, we'll be able to say that you're the state director of the year. So congratulations to you. Look forward to great things. And really thanks for all that you do.
Thank you, Vicky.
Congratulations, Vicki. We got 3 people signed up for public comment tonight on 5.1, and Dr. Cheeseman is going to read the public comment.
Welcome to the Beaufort County Board of Education meeting. Your presence is welcome and encouraged by the board. We invite comments during the public comment section of the board meeting. This time is set aside for the board to hear comments on programs, policies, and procedures. The board typically will not respond to nor take any immediate action on the concerns expressed, but please be assured that the board takes all comments under appropriate advisement. In order to conduct the meeting in an orderly and efficient manner, the following guidelines have been established. Persons wishing to speak should have already registered prior to the board meeting by listing their name, address, telephone number, and topic to be addressed. To maximize participation, comments will be limited to 3 minutes per speaker. Yielding time to another speaker is not permitted. A maximum of four speakers will be allowed to speak on any one item. The chairman will invite speakers to the podium in the order of which they were registered. Comments must be issue-oriented. Complaints against any employee will not be heard in public session. Public participation is limited to the public comment section so that the board may deliberate important decisions without distraction or interference.
All right, first one on
Thank
the
you.
night is David Hudson, Policy Code 3100. Good evening, Mr. Hudson.
Good evening, how are you doing?
Good.
Good. My name's David Hudson, and I have 3 children currently attending Beaufort County schools and one who graduated from Northside High in 2021. I have a vested interest in the success of all county schools. Our priority must be ensuring that Beaufort County students receive the highest quality education possible. It is the duty of the school board to provide our administrators, teachers, faculty, and staff members with the tools and support they require to accomplish this goal. Deeds, not words, should be the scale by which this is judged. There seems to be a disconnect between the current school board and the expectations and preferences of its constituency, the parents and citizens of Beaufort County. The issues pertaining to current curricula, how they are chosen, and Policy Code 3100 illustrate this. I spoke at the February 21st, 2023 meeting regarding my opposition to the proposed SAVIS curriculum. A large number of other attendees expressed the same concern. The result has been the school board pushing the need to find a new, suitable social studies curriculum to the back burner. This seems to be an effort to sweep the issue under the rug while intending to approve an unpopular curriculum at a later date when the visibility is less. I've heard the need to find a new science curriculum has replaced the search for a social studies one. We also currently have 3 different curricula for mathematics. Which one is used is up to the individual teacher and principal. I would recommend that a complete assessment of the curricula needs for our schools be conducted. Unless the school board addresses the current shortfalls in curricula and how they are chosen, our students will continue to suffer and our school scores will continue to be underperforming. Now I'll specifically address Policy Code 3100 and recommend changes to it. I am against the woke agenda currently being pushed upon our schools and the curriculum they use. This includes CRT and its other forms or names, such as CRL. This also includes Common Core and variations thereof. Indoctrination and political ideology have no place in our curriculum, especially concerning issues that adults have trouble understanding. Gender issues, for example. We should not be teaching anything that focuses on what makes our citizens different. Our focus should be on what makes us all the same: ethics, government, patriotism. Adopting the proposed changes to Policy Code 3100 would address these concerns and provide more clarity to the policy. Failure to do so will result in the same inadequate policy and its continued detrimental impacts on our children. I'd like to thank Mr. Shreve for being a champion for these recommended changes to Policy Code 3100. He repeatedly questioned why this board is opposed or refuses to consider having a member of the board on the Curriculum Selection Committee. This board must take an active role in the selection of our curriculum. We already have a current board member and former teacher, Mr. Hickman, who is willing to serve. Having a board member on the Curriculum Selection Committee will increase the transparency and communication of this process. It will also provide increased opportunity for the public and parents to be involved in the process and the ability to gain their insights or buy-in as to what is being taught to their children. Lastly, it will help alleviate the perception held by many that the superintendent and school board do not care what the public thinks and that they neither welcome nor desire public feedback or involvement in the administration of our county schools. Thank you for your consideration.
Thank you, Mr. Hudson. Next up, Mr. Stephen Rader, curriculum process.
Thank you. Good evening. Last year, a poll by the John Locke Foundation found that 71% of parents in North Carolina were concerned by political indoctrination of their children in public schools. That's 71%. Part of this concern likely comes from some rogue teachers injecting politics into the classroom, but much of it comes from curricula injected with the alphabet soup of woke. National textbook companies too often pander to the more liberal or left-wing systems in creating their curricula. In North Carolina, our Lieutenant Governor Mark Robinson has fought hard against liberal curricula, but a hard left majority of the state school board appointed by Governor Cooper has so far blocked his efforts. As the General Assembly's legal staff has pointed out to Representative Kidwell, North Carolina law gives absolute control of local curricula to the elected local school board. This is true regardless. It is time for Beaufort County Schools to adopt a transparent curriculum adoption process so that the entire process is out in the open to parents and taxpayers, as well as to school board members themselves. The current backroom process is not transparent and therefore not acceptable. A few school board members are to be applauded for offering several ways to do this, but it's a huge concern that the board majority seems to resist doing anything to make our curriculum process transparent. Let me mention a specific failing. State law requires schools to teach cursive writing. After becoming aware of a situation where local students were unable to read a menu printed in cursive, I asked a student at the Early College High School if his classmates could read and write cursive, and he told me very few of them could. Even to sign their names, most could only print in block letters. This is our most outstanding group of students in the county, the Early College High School, and most of them apparently don't know cursive. Yet the schools are charged under state law to teach it and to see that students are proficient in it. Someone from this school system is certifying to the state that you are teaching cursive, but they're obviously not being truthful with the state because students are not learning it. That's just one issue. But the curriculum process itself is the most important issue. And I certainly
Your
urge...
3 minutes, Mr. Rader.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. And last is Mr. Ray Leary, curriculum. Hey, Ray.
Local school boards are in turmoil. Progressive politicians and professional agitators are pushing for school board policies that indoctrinate young minds to believe they can change their genders, rebel against the norms that have guided this great country for decades, destroy families, and teach children to hate other races with CRT and DEI embedded in basic educational materials. Major textbook suppliers have bought into this madness with encouragement from federal and state agencies. The state and federally funded education entities have adopted this anti-American philosophy. Local school boards have followed suit and accepted and promoted this philosophy. They have adopted curricula devoted to the idea of equity of outcomes, regardless of the effort put forth by the students. This school board is considering eliminating honorariums such as valedictorians and salutatorians to diminish meritorious achievements and the false idea of equity. Yet, this board and others across the United States celebrate the successes of early college programs that produce high-achieving students. Students of these programs are higher achievers for two reasons. They see the value in education, and their parents encourage and support them. Parents that abdicate their responsibility to see that their children get the best education available and support them at home to that end are a major element of the problem. Low school scores are not just the responsibility of schools and teachers, it is the responsibility of the parents. Many of the parents of school-age children today are a product of the same schools that are failing their children. When the school system adopts Common Core math, diminishes the teaching of multiplication tables and cursive writing, this curriculum is confusing to parents, which in turn are unable to assist with homework. The move to digital and remote learning has been a disaster. Students in early grades must have competent teachers that can teach basic math, English, science, and civics. And they do, here in Beaufort County and across the state. But they're burdened with administrative things that just don't need to be in this curriculum. A C score in math and English may be acceptable to school administrators, but it is totally unacceptable to employers in highly complex manufacturing enterprises. Local school boards can and must do better. Curriculum selection is a local school's most urgent responsibility. It is not the responsibility of the state or federal bureaucrats. It is not the responsibilities of teachers and staff. This is one of the elected board's most important tasks, and this board needs to own it. Policy Code 3100 is virtually the same throughout the state. Why is this? The state DPI and NC School Board Association developed this policy. Local schools rubber stamp it. This needs to end. It is time to adopt an updated curriculum policy that was proposed to this board in 2023 and further modified in 2024. I suggest this board review the state of Florida's curriculum selection policy codified in their general statutes. You will see how out of step your policy is in providing transparency to the parents and citizens of Beaufort County. Thank you.
Moving on with the agenda. Discussion, no action items. 6.1, NC School Board Association Title 9 Policy Updates. Dr. Cheeseman, we have a ton of attachments.
You do. And so, first, let me just read from your board attorney, Steve Rowson. The North Carolina School Board Association released updates to several policies, including a new policy, 1725, that you've had in your possession to review. It reflects changes required by rules where the U.S. Department of Education recently released final Title IX rules. The rules are set to take effect on August 1st. So your board attorney is saying that you may in fact waive second reading if you wish. However, if you wish to move forward to another week, such as next week, he doesn't think that there will be so much of the issue. So what you have are very specific policy updates. Your board attorney says that it appears as though after he and his team have reviewed them, they seem to be in order with nothing really outstanding in that nature. So just for everyone to have an understanding who's in the audience, with the new policy updates, you would be rescinding policy 1725 in its current form, as there is a new one, and that's the Title IX sexual harassment as it has been redeveloped. Policy 7026 you would rescind as Title IX sexual harassment grievance process has been redeveloped. 7232 would be removed, discrimination and harassment, as it's now addressed in 1710. And then new and updated policies as you've had a chance to review. Policy 1510 was school safety, talking about behavior threat assessment and management, which Dr. Tremaine Young oversees along with Mark Doan and myself. But also policy 1710, as I said, is being reworked, discrimination and harassment prohibited by federal law. So you can see the notes that have been put there for you. Policy 7020, Title IX, non-discrimination on the basis of sex. 1725 is brand new, prohibited conduct and grievance procedure. And 4023 for for pregnant and parenting students and employees in terms of opportunities for them, and 4329, addressing bullying and harassing behavior. Some of the policies with only minor changes, many of them technical minor changes, include policy 1300 for governing principle parental involvement, policies 1500 for governing principle safe and orderly and inviting environment, policy 1600 governing principle professional development, and 1700 the governing principle of removing barriers. 1742 responding to complaints, 1760 prohibition against retaliation, 2500 for hearings before the board, 4040 for staff-student relations, and 7335 for employee use of social media, and also 7820 for personnel files. Those last few are all just simple minor technical changes. So in short, you've had a tremendous amount that's been given to you to review. The new regulations broaden the scope of what constitutes sex discrimination and sex-based harassment prohibited by Title IX, and have eliminated the requirement that complaints of sexual harassment are handled under a separate scope. So essentially, the policies that you have in your hand somewhat refine the process should there be an issue. So it actually eliminates some of the extra steps to make it more efficient, timely, and so therefore the board can work through those processes. Any questions about the policies that are in front of you? You are welcome to use this opportunity as a first read. State law, it goes into effect August 1st, but again, your board attorney, Steve Ralston, says that if you wanted more time to look through it and then be able to consider a recommendation next Tuesday, you're welcome to do so as well.
Board, got any questions?
I personally want more time to look through it, especially since
Yep.
Board Member Pittman passed out something right before our meeting.
Go ahead, Mr.
Well,
Hill.
considering what I passed out, I did write a resolution. I've been following the Title IX changes for a while now, and the essence of what the Title IX changes are, I've got a lot more in the resolution, but kind of the essence of it is that the changes contradict the plain language of the original law. Number two, the changes illegally bypass the legislative process with the administrative changes with no legislation. And number three, they undermine the very protections for female students that Title IX sought to provide. And that's troubling to me. So I do present this resolution for the board's consideration to be on the agenda at a future meeting after you can review it. But as for me, in the meantime, I'll be sending something similar to my representatives in Raleigh along the chain of our state representation. And that's just my position on this.
Mr. Chairman, I would like more time as well.
Yeah, I would too. Any
And
more
what is,
questions?
what is, I'm sorry,
Any more questions? Go ahead.
and what is the consequence if we choose not to pass this as written?
That was exactly my next one.
Well, I don't think there's a major consequence. I think that at any time, people with issues can bring litigation towards you.
Right, I understand
And so then they're
that.
going to look at what policies, procedures, protocols, rituals, routines you had in place, what
Right.
training people had, what reporting mechanisms you had. And those policies actually define a lot of that work.
Right,
And so in short, I'm not sure there's a penalty. It just means that you may in fact not be following federal law. Now, there are circumstances where federal and state law right now don't really agree with each other
Right.
when it comes to Title IX.
right.
As I pointed out in a previous policy to you. And so there are lawsuits in the country around this. There's one in Kansas right now. And there have been other concerns brought forth in other states in that regard.
There's a
But the-
part of me that would like to see how those
I
litigate
would really like to see them. Yeah.
Run along
before
what-
we jump in feet first with the policy. We're not 100% behind.
There's a lot going on now, as Dr. Cheeseman mentioned, and I think it's up to, it's hard for me to keep track of it because it keeps changing, but I think it's up to 21 states have injunctions on this now. And there's likely to be some more.
Why can't we just pause it indefinitely?
Yeah, the problem I have with this, first off, what Mr. Hickman is saying over there, I wholeheartedly agree. The problem I have with it is when I read through here from State Board Association.
Your mic.
Oh, it's still not on?
It's on now.
Okay, now it's on. Okay, I think they already heard me. The problem I have, first off, I agree with you. is when they send these things down, and I read through it, and I guess I really just start losing my train of thought or even caring to read the rest of it after they tell me I'm required. And that, I think I've got as far as paragraph number 2 on the first page before I wanted to throw it all in the trash. So the same question she has.
Yeah.
So what happens if, because there's no way I agree with this.
No, I-
And I'm pretty sure there's a lot of the rest of you feel the same way. So, you know, before we come back and talk about it again, maybe we ought to talk to Steve and just say, what happens if we say no to a requirement by the state board? If they feel this great about it, why don't they come down here and vote for it? What's the point of me having to sit here in this seat if I'm told what to do and what not to do?
But at the
I
same
don't like
time,
that.
I do understand that it is very important that none of our students are victims of discrimination in any manner.
It's already covered. Sure.
Right, and if that's already,
That's
In
not
many
saying
ways,
that.
we're changing it around to where it does.
right, that's what I'm afraid of.
The wording changes it around where it
I
does.
mean, I
It
like the
opens it-
original law.
Yeah, it opens it up more.
That's all. I don't have more to say. I just
Me
don't
either.
agree with being
We're
changing
not,
it when
we're
we
not
already.
voting on it tonight.
I know, we've
No.
already covered and, you
I'd be
know,
more than
so-
happy to invite your board attorney to
That
the
might be a
August
good
6th
idea.
meeting.
I don't know that next week,
No.
which is our next
No.
meeting, gives us time to go over what Charles has given, as well as do more, a lot of stuff.
It is a lot.
But yeah, I don't think we're gonna be, that. August.
Okay.
Whatever.
I don't see
I'm
nobody.
good with
That's
that.
almost a
I
month
don't see
away.
anybody busting down the doors to do anything about it if we
It
don't.
does sound
Are
like
you all right
anybody-
with that?
Yeah.
Okay, can we wait and bring it back, and that gives us time to
Yeah,
talk with Steve
Last
Ralston?
meeting in August.
Okay.
See if we're gonna
Does that
get
give
it.
us plenty of time, board? All right, 6.2, moving on. Dr. Mark Doon.
I'll take it.
Dr. Mark
Not paying for it.
Well deserved.
Dr. Doan.
So what I have before you is a sample, possible teacher assistant annual supplement chart. First, you should know that the state of North Carolina has required all North Carolina school systems to revamp and condense their classified salary schedule. And because of that, our salary schedule now includes where you fall, includes what level of education you have. So Mr. Draper had mentioned that possibly paying folks a little more if they were closer to receiving their degree and could possibly be a teacher. So for example, if you look on the very left column where it says experienced degree, if I'm in the 0 to 8 column, then that's either I have no experience whatsoever starting out my career, or if, for example, if I were on step 8, then it's possible my experience is very low, but I may have a 4-year degree. So this experience/degree includes both of those. So the higher you go on the scale, either you're a very experienced TA or you're both an experienced TA who also possesses an associate's degree or a bachelor's degree. And so what I broke down for you, next to each column is the current TAs we have per category. So for example, we have 19 teacher assistants. This is, when I say teacher assistant, I'm talking about someone who works with exceptional children. I'm talking about distance learning, regular classroom TA, in-school suspension, personal care aides, anyone who falls under the banner of teacher assistant. So it's a catch-all term, anyone who falls in that division. We have 19 teacher assistants who are in the 0 to 8 bracket. And you can see that if we were to start out with a $200 annual supplement, then by level, you see how much that would cost. $3,800, and if you work your way down, you can see that in the first example, if you go down 9-12, then it went up by $50, 13 to 16, it went up by another 50. So in that particular category, when all is said and done, if we were to give all of our TAs a supplement based on their experience and degree, that would cost you roughly $39,639. If you go to annual supplement number 2, instead of increasing it by $50, I increased it by $100. And so in that case, it would cost you $53,000. And then annual supplement number 3, I increased it by $150. This was just a starting point. If there's feedback, if there's a certain dollar figure you're looking for, if there's a certain amount, but this is just give you a rough estimate of how much things would cost depending on what number you pick and then how you extrapolate from there.
Who's got any question? Go ahead.
It's not a question so much as a comment, Dr. Doan, about, when I brought this up at the last meeting, it was because I think most all of us realize that our teacher assistants are working doubly hard and doing a lot more than just 15 years ago, 5 years ago. So I felt like they were being left out of the supplements that everybody else was getting. I realize we don't have a lot of money to go around, as much as I would love to go all the way to the right column, because I think they're worth that and more. I would love for us to at least start somewhere and then maybe move it up as we're able to. That's just my suggestion. At least go with the one that's $39,639. Unless you all want to go to the next.
Anybody got
step.
any more questions?
No, I would just say, where would the money come from?
Well, currently, money would come from our fund balance, and then in future budget presentations that we would present to the county, we would probably include it as an ask
And what
for
is
the
our
future.
fund balance?
In Fund 2, you have about $1.1 million, and after saving 11 positions of the projected 38 that you should have cut, in Fund 8, you're probably just under 600,000.
Remember that, the presentation, so that
Yeah.
takes it to
Maybe
600.
even 500,000.
Yeah.
So the question would be, is this something that you'd like to do this year? If it is, then you would take it out of your fund balance, your savings account. If it's something that you'd like to work through and redesign a little bit more and then take it to the commissioners in your springtime budget presentation, you can do that as well. It's whatever the pleasure of the board is.
And this is a non-action item tonight
Right.
too, so we can look at it later in the month.
Maybe next week,
Yeah.
I mean, next
Yeah.
meeting.
You can do it next
Yeah, I think I agree with Carol, if I'm not trying to put words in your mouth. But yeah, the first one, we need to at least start that, and I'd like to do it this year.
Now,
just
the
want to make
fund-
sure.
Fund balance wise, this is feasible.
I mean,
You
Yes.
can spend it out of your savings account, but you have nothing to replenish your savings
Right.
account.
Okay.
Yeah, once it's gone, it's gone.
I just don't want us to start something, then we have to stop.
Right.
I
Good point.
agree.
Yeah.
I
Very
agree.
good point.
I've seen that happen over the years, and
Right.
I feel bad when you have to do that.
But I think we make sure that it is in our presented budget next
Yeah.
year.
Right.
Yeah, just make sure.
Our budgets have been real tight, I know, since I've been on the board. And I know that Mr. Doan and Dr. Cheeseman has done a good job in moving things around where we aren't hurt. Teachers are kept, things are moved around. I know that teachers are retiring, that helped. And anyway, they've done a good job in maintaining our expenses
Oh, yeah.
for our budget.
Mark, I just wanted to ask about the duties of the TAs. Are there any circumstances when they are, at least temporarily, or maybe more than temporarily, where they act as teachers?
Certainly depending on the classification, certainly our regular classroom teacher assistants are doing small group instruction. A lot of our teacher assistants go to the same trainings that our teachers do when it comes to the science of reading, or when it comes to certain, curriculum events. Our TAs attend because they're asked to pull students and work with them individually. Our ECTAs are certainly working in classrooms with smaller populations of students, working one-on-one with our students. And there are certainly times we have vacancies when we ask TAs to cover, whether it be a maternity leave or a vacant position, because depending on how long they've been in the system, they've been in as many trainings as some of our teachers have been. So there are absolutely opportunities for them to be in those roles.
All right. Any more questions? All right, moving on down. 7.1, teacher supplements. We had this last month, or at the beginning of the month, got an attachment. Mr. Doan, you got anything to add?
No, sir, just the requested increase is so that we can keep up with the requirements of the state, so that we can continue to offer, in addition to our local supplement, the state supplemental funds from PRC 071. If we do not increase this, then we are at risk of not receiving those in the future.
This is an action item. And we do need to keep it increased to be able to keep the state supplement, correct?
Yes, sir.
All right. Do I have a motion to?
Move approval, Mr. Chairman.
Second.
All right, got a motion, a second. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? All right.
Thank you.
7.2, 24-25 beginning teacher plan, teacher supplement support plan. You have an attachment, Mr. Doan.
Yes, sir. By state statute and State Board of Education policy, annually, each school system must approve their beginning teacher support program plan. This lays out how we will support our beginning teachers in their first 3 years of teaching. It talks about who will participate, what professional developments that we will offer, how we will observe and evaluate our beginning teachers, how we will work with our beginning teachers for 3 days of beginning teacher induction. We'll try to place optimum working conditions for them, how we'll work with our veteran teachers to be mentors, and then how we will evaluate the beginning teacher support program each year so that we can change it and hopefully improve it from 1 year to the next.
This is an action item. Anybody got any questions?
So moved. Oh, I'm sorry.
Gary's got a question.
Is there, in talking about the teacher's assistants, I'm going backwards now, but is there some version of this that we can begin to follow with regard to incenting our teacher's assistants? You know, setting up mentoring systems. I know you probably can't do all the different areas that are discussed here, but is there something that we can begin to do? I always believe in growing our own if we can, giving them an incentive to pursue, degree programs or certifications or whatever. Is there some version of this particular policy? This is for new teachers, and I know it would be different, but is there something that we can do with regard to teachers' assistants that would be that would show our appreciation for them and provide them some type of an incentive to work toward, potential certification at some point in time?
Well, we're fortunate that each year we apply for and have so far successfully received the TA to Teacher Scholarship Program from the state of North Carolina, which allows us to identify teacher assistants who either want to begin the process or who are already in the process of returning to school. So we could either reimburse you for tuition or pay your initial tuition fees. And in addition to that, our schools, our greatest teacher support, TA support program is really equivalent to our beginning teacher support program at our school level. Our principals do a tremendous job of identifying those folks who are interested in going back to school, interested in going above and beyond the position, and they are the ones who are suggesting to them that they attend trainings, because that's not required, but they're encouraging them to learn as much as they can and to take those steps. And then each year we try to contribute financially to keep them in school. We just happen to be blessed. It's a good news, bad news problem. We have a large percentage of teacher assistants who have been with the school system for a very long time. And those folks are in a certain age range where going back to college is not gonna work for them and their families. And so we're trying to cultivate our small group of newer teacher assistants who are still don't have family commitments, don't have other issues that pull them away, that enable them to return to school. But the TA to Teacher Scholarship has been a big help for us in that respect.
If we do participate in that,
Yes, sir. We were one of the charter members and have continued to do so for the last 5 years.
do we need to, it sounds like it might be up to the individual principal to design a system for the TAs that they work with?
No, it's something where I meet with our teacher assistants. We have public meetings with them, representatives from East Carolina, we have other scholarship opportunities. We try to bring them together and kind of go across the board in terms of what's available from monetary side of things. And then at the school level, we have, really it's a kind of all hands on deck when it comes to our classroom TAs.
So you kind of lead the process?
Yes, sir.
Through meetings with the staff, and I just wondered if there's anything we need to do to formalize the process.
I'm not aware of anything, but
It's an annual conversation. It's an annual conversation.
Okay. But it's probably different for every principal that's here.
No, he does it with all the TAs, is what he just said.
I know.
With all, no, he does, Mr. Doon does it with the TAs in the room.
Okay.
Yeah, he does it with the TAs and gives them all the,
But it
here's your
sounds
scholarship.
like as far as the administration of it or something, it falls back on the principals to,
Well, I mean, their
to kind of-
recommendation is part of it. And
Yeah.
obviously, they're gonna know our staff better than anyone in terms of who's interested in becoming a teacher, who can commit the time, who wants to attend those trainings, who wants to be part of the process.
I'm just interested in doing whatever we need to do to encourage those TAs to stick with us and to progress up the ladder. So, okay.
Do we have a motion to
So
approve
moved.
this?
Second.
All right, all in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? All right, 7.3, Ms. Gibbs, start on the way up. This is EC contract approval. Good evening, Ms. Gibbs, how are you?
Didn't we do
Board,
this
you have an
last meeting?
attachment?
No? Is this something different?
I guess it's something.
No, this is not the extending contract, this is the yearly
Different one.
contract,
I
right?
see.
End of the year.
Yeah.
I'm coming to you at the beginning of the year this time.
There you go.
Okay. So again, I'm here for two EC contract approvals. The first was for OT Plus, as this is a company that we contract with that provide occupational therapy services and some related services for students who do qualify, and it is documented in the Individualized Education Program, or IEP. The second contract is with Speech Therapy East, and again, this is a company that provides speech and language services. Again, these students do qualify for speech and language. It is also documented on their IEP. These services are paid through the EC department, so I'm asking for approval for both contracts so we continue to provide these services for students that do qualify and that do need these services.
Anybody got any questions?
The amount was $150,000, and what was the other amount?
The other
I was looking, I couldn't find it.
I think for OT Plus, it
Yeah.
was $245.
We're looking at what, 400,000?
All out of EC, federal EC
Yeah,
funds.
Sure, yeah.
So
And it's-
moved.
And it's needed too.
If they qualify, we'll legally be qualified, we'll have to provide it.
I
So
got a
that's
motion
not-
and a
No
second.
choice. Second.
All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
Thank
All
you,
right.
Ms. Gibbs.
Thank you, Ms. Gibbs. 7.4, field trip approval. We have 3 on the docket.
Chocowinity Primary School, October 3rd, to the Ron Clark Academy in Atlanta, Georgia, with 11 fourth grade students, 14 parent chaperones. Each child will have a parent chaperone, 6 staff members, no transportation, and parents will actually move their own students to the venue. Chocowinity Middle School, October 4th through the 5th, 16 5th through 8th grade students, 20 parent chaperones. Each child will have their own parent present, 7 staff members, no transportation, as parents will transport their own students. Northside High School, December 6th through the 7th in Raleigh, cheer competition, 17 female students, 2 female adults through an activity bus.
Anybody got any
Motion to
questions?
approve.
All right, got a
Second.
motion? Second. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Moving on down, 7.5, policy 3450. This is after the revisions that we gave Dr. Cheeseman to do on the class rankings.
Yes.
And this does not do away with valedictorian and salutatorian, and it goes to the data management system. Is that correct?
Yes, and with that, in the second paragraph, I asked the board to add one additional item for consideration tonight. In the second paragraph, about 4 lines down where it says valedictorian, salutatorian, class marshals, and graduation honors are determined by the student data management system calculation. I would ask that right after the word calculation, you put in parentheses weighted scale of class rank for all graduates of the given high school, as the student data management system, which is Infinite Campus right now, is on a weighted scale. But just so parents in our community and our students and whomever else might be looking at that, they may not understand that the data management system is on a weighted scale. So I ask that you insert a weighted scale right after calculation, if you don't mind.
All right, this is an action item.
Yep. Move approval.
All right, got a motion and a second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? All right,
I
going on.
realize it's a little late, but how is this information communicated to the parents?
Well, school has not
Of the-
started.
Of the management system.
So school has not started yet, and so in the beginning meetings, back to school night, documentation of this policy and other policies will be provided to our students.
Okay, and on an ongoing basis, as far as class rankings or scores for their sons and daughters?
Parents at any given time can check in through Infinite Campus
Okay.
where their students are academically. They can also check in with their counselor at any time. But always remember that like final rankings happen at the end of a semester in high school. So in real time, they may have to contact a counselor in terms of where their student is. So we need the family to be as involved as the professional.
Absolutely.
How is this gonna cross over from, we're gonna be on a new system,
Infinite Campus?
right, versus what we've been doing, which was Power Schools? So our current high school students were judged under Power Schools. They're still in high school, but now, so are we gonna, I didn't vote yes, but I didn't vote no, I just didn't vote, so I know that's an affirmative, because I'm just not sure about this.
So Infinite
I'm not
Campus.
against it, I'm just not sure how that handles current high school
How they
students.
blend together.
So just so everyone understands, Power School and Infinite Campus and other companies specifically are data management centers.
Right.
They're the house of that. So your student data should be transitioning from Power School into Infinite Campus, which is why Gail Rowell and so many of our data managers at our schools are so essential to our success as a school system. So kudos to all of them who are doing that work. But everything just transitions over, excuse me, that was hard to say, transitions over. And so there should be no difference in terms of how they're scaled and how they're ranked in that regard because you're using this same grading scale. The difference before was that your previous policy created confusion from years ago. But in terms of how things are rank ordered based on weights and all of that, it's a similar scale.
Okay. I just want to make sure there wasn't going to be a gap for our current high school students, that they'll still get the weighted grades that they've earned.
Yes, they do. All of that stays the same, so all of the information stays the same.
Okay.
All right. 7.6, Board Policy 3620, we have an attachment. Part of this we took care of last meeting. I'll reiterate what we took care of last meeting immediately, was that the policy would read that the child would identify as what the birth certificate is given when they are born. So what God given them is the way they will identify. So I'll reiterate that one, and we took care of that last meeting.
TW, you're talking about section B1C, second paragraph?
Yes.
Yes,
Okay.
that is correct. It will read whatever the birth certificate is given when the child is born or athlete is born. And there was another correction that we had, we were doing, we instructed Dr. Cheeseman not to, the highlighted one, homeschool athletes are not eligible to participate in sports. Option 3, under that. You remember that?
And the
Everybody remember that?
Yes.
Everybody on the board?
So we've selected option 3.
That's what the
Yes.
direction was. This was second read.
Well, that's the recommendation.
Yeah,
And
that
then the third part of that, which is the way you've already been behaving as a school system, Section B, number 1, letter B, participation by 6th graders. It's still the recommendation that students in 6th grade are eligible to participate in all interscholastic athletics except tackle football.
But I wanted to reiterate, we did vote immediately on that other one. We didn't leave and let it lie.
Is what you said the exact wording of that one?
Yes, sir. It's documented for you, specifically on page 2 of 6, where the School Board Association put a strike through where it states a student participating in high school interscholastic athletics may participate only on the team consistent with the gender of the student's birth certificate unless otherwise permitted under North Carolina High School Athletic Association rules and regulations. That's where I made the recommendation to all of you last week to unstrike it or take the strike away and leave it in your policy as something that you would support. And just so people in the audience know, the reason that the School Board Association attorneys put a strike through is that your federal government and your state governments aren't agreeing on Title IX rules right now. However, it's my recommendation, and you already took care of it last week, is to not strike that out and leave it in your policy. as a student participating in high school would be consistent with what's on their birth certificate. High
What
school
would be the
athletics.
ramifications of stopping, of unstriking it, like we did, and stopping at certificate? Because I don't know what the ramifications are with unless otherwise permitted under North Carolina High School Athletic Association. That looks like
I'll go along with that. Let's put a
that
period
looks like a
behind-
way to
Let's go ahead and put a
undermine the
period
whole
behind
thing.
certificate. Let's put a period behind certificate and be done with it.
I'm with that.
Yep, I'll go along with that.
I move we do so.
Yep, done.
Good catch.
Second. Yeah.
All in
Now,
favor,
that-
say aye.
Well, no,
Move on.
now this, I mean, this isn't, I mean, this is a copy that is not correct at this moment in time, correct?
Right.
Because there's still, we still got scores
Right.
across a paragraph that we're keeping, correct?
Yes. We're keeping it.
Right.
I want-
So the copy we're looking at is not the one that's actually going to be
Exactly.
moving forward, correct?
So in this recommendation, I am recommending to you to keep students in sixth grade eligible to participate except for tackle football. I am recommending to you to not strike through that paragraph that's been identified, and under Mr. Hickman's recommendation, as seconded by others, is to put period after certificate. And I'm recommending to you that you select option 3. And so should the board approve this as presented, then a clean copy of this would be presented to you for inspection.
Okay.
I'm sorry, go ahead.
Good, you good.
I know that the North Carolina High School Athletic Association, they have teeth. Can't they stop, if we don't comply with what they say, can't they stop our participation in tournaments?
With respect, I'm not sure they have as much teeth as they once had based on the General Assembly.
Yeah, they got slapped around pretty good.
And so I would think that you're in a very strong place with
Okay,
this.
that's what I wanted to
But
know.
Gary, there was a time when they could sanction
Yeah.
you and remove you from playoff contentions and.
About 2
so
years
your-
ago, they
Your
got-
way of thinking is right, but the General Assembly did take away a lot of the power they had.
Okay.
So we have a motion on the floor and seconded to put a period behind certificate. And the last part of that sentence has gone away, where it talks about North Carolina High School Association rules and regulations. I'm gonna do that motion first. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? All right. Now do I have a motion to approve? All right.
Second.
All right. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? You got all that?
Yeah, we got it.
All right. Now, we got the last one. This is the, spring revisions that, Donald asked about last meeting. Now, coming back up, 24 spring revisions. You got an attachment. We've had it for a month. So has anybody got any questions?
I need to bring your attention to something.
Go.
If you don't mind, if the board would look at policy 1310, page 13 of 14, line item G is in Gary, community services available.
1310, what was that?
Page, it's policy code 1310/4002, page 13 of 14, community services available. And this is an area where you have to write something into it. And so for the people in the audience, it says a variety of community services are available to provide parents and families of students in the school system with needed information, support, and resources. Parents are encouraged to utilize applicable community services such as the following. And I'm asking for the board's permission for us to write, to please see the Beaufort County Resources Guide as provided on the Beaufort County Schools website with the Beaufort link, where they could actually see the tab. It's already live on our website under Community. So if you went to our website, clicked on Community, looked to the left, and clicked on Beaufort County Resources, then you would see an incredible guide that Dr. Tremaine Young, Ms. Gibbs, all of their teammates have put together. It's a comprehensive guide of resources that our families could utilize. So in that section, I'm just asking you for your approval in this policy for me to write, please see website and direct them to where that is.
Fine with that.
And that way I don't have to update the policy every time you add a new
And
resource.
when you direct them, can it be on the can it be on the front page somewhere to make it as user-friendly as possible? I have people really fairly often, actually, that will ask me how to find a policy in our, because we have so many. And they'll say, where is the policy on jump rope? You know, it's on things that I'm like, "Oh, I'm not sure, and I usually have to bother Lisa and Cindy to find out where that policy is, because there's so many. So things that we vote on and make decisions on, I would love to see those a little more front and center so that they can immediately review it.
Okay.
Does that make sense to everybody?
I'm getting the same calls and questions. I just
Yeah, and they're
researched
not against
something
our policy
last
so
week
much
for
as they want to
someone.
know where to find it.
Yeah.
And it's really hard.
All right. This is an action item, if everybody's good with that.
So moved.
I got a motion.
Second.
And second, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? All right, 8.1, Mr.
Is that
Williams?
time?
Yeah, it's that time, sir.
I move to go into closed session pursuant to General Statutes 143, 318, 11A1 to prevent disclosure of confidential personnel files under General Statutes 115C, 321.